Let's do this. The Cult of Hockey podcast by the faithful and for faithful. I'm David Staples of the Edmonton Journal, and I'm here today with Bruce McCurdy. Hey, Bruce.
Hey, David, how you doing tonight?
I'm okay. How are you?
I'm as well as might be expected. Not a super happy camper, but I was actually pretty calm throughout that game. I expected Winnipeg to bounce back with a harder game, and they did. And
They sure did.
The Oilers didn't have what it took to hold on to leads or ties, or that was a very sloppy game. No real surprise with a 22-hour minimum break between face-off times, and both teams were sloppy, and that wasn't very surprising, frankly. But the Oilers were probably the sloppier. What do we got for grade A chances in this 6-7-5 Oilers loss to the Winnipeg Jets?
They were almost dead even. I mean, this is an unofficial count because you have yet to, you've gone over it once, but you've yet to really dig in.
Right.
So it's 15-14 for the Jets on grade A shots.
Yeah.
But on the subset of 5 alarm shots, grade A shots go in on average 25% of the time. The subset of 5 alarm shots go in 33% of the time, roughly. And that was 9-8 for the Edmonton Oilers. So that is a huge, as my friend Tom Barrett would say, a huge number of goals to score on that few grade A shots. So it was hardly a goaltending duel from either Jack Campbelltrons or Connor Hellebuck. They both let in a lot of goals there. So not a defensive classic by any means, kind of a WHA style game. Lots going on. I'm sure the hometown crowd was really happy. And to give the Jets credit, they outworked the Oilers this game. There was a different vibe from it almost immediately, even though the Oilers started the game in the same way with an early power play goal. The Jets just were hitting and battling a lot harder. And on the night, they were probably the better team, although it was very close.
Yeah, well, that's about 4 expected goals by our count.
Yeah, for each team.
Yeah, more or less, yeah. And in... I got the wrong game here. Yeah, tonight's game, the expected goals were 3.6 for the Jets and 3.2 for the Oilers, according to Natural Stat Trick. And of course, the actual goals, just barring the empty netter, was 6 against on 3.6 expected against.
Oh yeah, you're right. I better check my game story here. I've already posted. I forgot that. Might have forgotten that empty net goal.
Oh yeah, you want to get the score right if you want people to.
I got it right. 7-5. There you go.
Okay.
First law of journalism: get your frickin' facts right, buddy. All right, Bruce. This is our 2 good things, 2 bad things, and 2 numbers podcast. And because we're in a foul mood, we're going to go with 78 bad things each.
Okay.
Just kidding. All right, we'll go with just 2. Let's rip through this. All right. Your good thing.
Yeah, okay. I'm going to go with something that happened early in the game that I kind of hoped would set the stage for the game, and it didn't, but I still liked it so much I'm going to mention it anyway. And I wasn't very happy with this player's entire game, this player being Cody Ceci. But there was a play about 2 minutes into the first period, in fact, 17:53 on the clock, when he was going to clear a puck by the sideboards, and this John Nemesnikov came from behind Ceci and did something we saw a couple times last night, hit him from behind and sent him sort of careening into the sideboards. And I'm going, this is not good. I hope he gets up. And Ceci did get up. And the play went up ice and back over the Winnipeg blue line. And then Winnipeg started breaking out of their own zone. And this is like 15 seconds later or less. And Nemesnikov was just coming up to center with the puck to try and dump it in. And wham! Cody Ceci just destroys him at center ice. And I'm going, geez, I sure hope that's the same guy that just gooned him from behind. So I went back, of course, and watched the video. And sure enough, he didn't just get the next jet. He actually got the guy who had kind of grossed him out seconds before. And I'm thinking, that's the way. If they're going to fight back like this, I like it. But at the end of the night, Winnipeg 29 hits, Edmonton 13 hits. And the Oilers did not have the kind of physicality. I would love to see a couple of their other defensemen lower the boom on somebody, anybody. But it wasn't really that kind of a game for Oilers. Cece had 3 hits, and no other defender had more than 1. And they just didn't defend aggressively or smartly or effectively or, you know.
Yeah, not even Desharnais
No, that's
was
right.
in a particularly nasty mood in
I
this
don't know
game.
why not, to tell you the truth.
Yeah, you'd think.
Yep.
Like I don't. Here's
Playing the
another.
same team that just roughed you up with a couple of real dubious hits last night. But
Well, speaking of the lack of physicality, I don't know why Klim Kostin wasn't in the lineup.
no,
You know you're going in to Winnipeg, who were really starly last game, right? And you know you're going to have a physical challenge from the Winnipeg Jets this game. That's coming because they're mad and they're gonna battle as hard as they can. So why wouldn't you play Klim Kostin? I mean, I can understand even like you might want to go with Devon Shore. He's been hot, but you could Shore or Ryan are the clear candidates to sit. And I question the coach on that one. I just think go pick one of Shore and Ryan, sit him down, and play Klim Kostin because you're going to need him in this game. And they did need him. They did need him in this game. They need him into the third period to go do the dirtiest thing he could to meet Hedelainen and take out that guy who went after Connor McDavid. And he just wasn't there for that. So I'm a little
took
bit.
out Connor McDavid, drew an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty against the Oilers, and the game-winning goal scored on the power play. That was with 1 second left in the period. Talk about a sour series of events there. At least the
Yeah.
main thing is McDavid got up, right? You let everything else go as long as McDavid got up. If he hadn't got up, then, so
Yeah. Anyway, I was just.
still.
So yeah, I liked CC's hit too, Bruce, and he made you'll get to this. He was part of the defensive core that had some struggles out there.
Yep.
But that was a good play from CC. Bruce, my good thing is Leon Draisaitl. This is the 3rd game in a row when he has been absolutely flying out there, and it seems like as the going's getting tough, Leon is getting going. And I had said last game, last podcast that I think if the Oilers stay healthy and get adequate goaltending, that they will win the Stanley Cup this year. Yeah, what is adequate goalie? Well, that's the question. It's not what we had tonight, but and the main reason I'm saying that is there's 2 changes to the team that I think are going to drive the Oilers to the Stanley Cup this year. And that's Ekholm's acquisition, the acquisition of Ekholm by Ken Holland. Just a brilliant piece of GMing there from Ken Holland, bringing in a player like this, a veteran player like this, who just answers the team's needs in so many ways. It's becoming evident. The other thing, though, is Leon Draisaitl, if he's playing like this, the Oilers really do present something that no other team has. This 2-way punch at center that is, again, it's unique to the NHL right now. I don't think there's any other team that can boast. Clearly, there isn't. They can boast these 2 centers. So this game, he scores a hat trick, and he was good right off the stop. He won a board battle right in the first shift, and I thought, okay, this is going to go well because Leon's digging in right off the top. Bouchard hammers the puck on net on the power play, and Leon early power play, and Leon is there, hits Hyman's stick, and Leon's there, and to put it right in the net. Beautiful garbage goal from Leon. He his next goal was his sweetest moment in the game. He picks off a pass deep in the Winnipeg end, and he stick handles to the outside and launches a backhand shot, which is just gorgeous. Beats Hellebuck over the shoulder, top shelf where Mama keeps the cookies, and fantastic skill play from Leon Draisaitl. The third goal is a fantastic skill play from Connor McDavid, where Leon wins the faceoff and does what he's supposed to do. He goes right to the net, and the puck works its way around, and McDavid gets it and fires just a sizzling pass across ice to Leon, and Leon has his stick firmly on the ice in the crease, and it goes in the net off Leon's stick. Great pass, great finish. Leon then, in this period, batted a puck out of the air. Zach Hyman then batted the puck with his hand out of the air and then put it down and then almost scored himself. And then Leon set up McDavid twice with excellent passes in the slot. And that was the game when Connor McDavid couldn't score on those two great shots. And they were great opportunities to score. But Leon was all over this game, making great plays. He did make a few defensive mistakes. But overall, he's playing at his very best. We hadn't yet seen that this year. We hadn't seen that since I actually don't know the last time, because I don't know if he was, even before he got clobbered by Mikey Anderson in the playoffs last year against LA, I don't know if he was fully at 100% there either. So it's been a little bit of time since we've seen Leon playing like this, but it is fantastic to see it, Bruce. And it's a good omen, to say the least, for the Edmonton Oilers.
Yeah, it's 5-on-5 too. I mean, talked about power play, but 5-on-5, Oilers outshot Winnipeg 15-8 when Draisaitl was on the ice, and he was, the best on shot shares on the Oilers, and that's not normally necessarily his forte. It is, but the 5-on-5 goal that he scored, my goodness, what a play. He started with the puck deep in his own territory. He powered past one guy. The guy tried to take him out before he got going right along the right wing boards in the Oilers' end, and Leon just overpowered the guy. And he comes up through center ice. Another Jet challenges him there. He burns that guy wide. He winds up taking the puck in deep into the zone and firing a decent, probably grade B backhand shot from a low angle that Hellebuck saves. And it goes into the corner, and it's kind of a 4-player scramble, and the puck pops out. And who's there but Leon Draisaitl to intercept it? And then he dangles past another guy, goes in on his backhand again, steep angle, and he absolutely roofs a perfect backhand over Hellebuck's shoulder. So that last part is what you'll see on the video. The entire rush and then the aftermath, but the rush itself was breathtaking. And he's been bringing the power game, and it sure is nice to see. And usually when Leon plays as well as he did tonight, Oilers win. But there was, he did only score the 3 goals, I guess. So,
yeah, well, this game was Campbelltron's. Bruce, Leon, he's only 90th in terms of even strength point scoring rate. Mm-hmm. Heading into the game, he was 90th in the NHL. Mm-hmm. And the Oilers are going nowhere if that's Leon Draisaitl's even strength output in the playoffs. They just can't have that. He's got to be one of the top even strength scorers in the playoffs. And he's certainly capable of being that kind of player. He's been much higher in the past in that regard. So he hasn't had a very good season at even strength. He's struggled on defense to some extent. I mean, listen, I'm overstating it. Leon Draisaitl at even strength has been a good hockey player. He just, by his standard, he hasn't been the same. He hasn't consistently been at his highest level as he has been in a few other seasons. And we're starting to see that now. So your bad thing, Bruce.
Yeah, I got to go with the performance of Oilers defense, specifically 2 pairings and not 1. And I thought in this game, by far, Edmonton's best pairing was Evan Bouchard and Matthias Ekholm. And by far, Edmonton's best defenseman was Evan Bouchard. I thought he had an extremely strong game. He had 3 assists in this game, 3 shots on net, 5 that were blocked. So I still got that issue, but shots on net were good, and a couple of them led to goals, like the very first one in the power play in the first period. Anyway, that pairing was fine. The pairs of Nurse and Cece and Kulak and Desharnais, they got crushed. And they were struggling in their own end. They were not physical enough. They weren't winning enough battles, and they just weren't sharp. And to back up, this is the observation that I had coming in, but then I ran off the national stat trick results from this game, on ice results. And we have Evan Bouchard. This is just shot attempts, 65% for the Oilers, and 68% when with Matthias Ekholm. Nurse and Cece both at 29%. Then we have Brett Kulak at 21% and Vincent Desharnais at 30%. I mean, usually even within a sort of a competitive game, guys will kind of cluster in the 40 to 60 range. And if you're below 40, you're spending way too much time in your own end. If you're down at 30 or below, it's not good.
What was Broberg?
And Broberg was 58, but only 7-4-5 against shot attempts in 7 minutes, like relatively low event.
Yeah.
But all those other guys, low event does not describe what was going on when they were out there, because it was a tire fire.
It really was, Bruce. I mean, there's a number of plays we could. I'll bring up a couple of them. I mean, Cece's play in the neutral zone in the second period where he fails to get the puck deep, which that happens now and then. Mm-hmm. Where you're trying to shoot the puck up the boards and someone closes off the boards to you and you fail. Well, Darnell Nurse, his job in that moment when your partner has the puck, cover for him. Yeah. But Darnell was creeping up the ice, and when the puck rebounds off the shins of the Winnipeg forward and goes ahead to the attacker, there's a breakaway instead of Nurse being
there. That was CC that was going up. Yeah.
CC was in the neutral zone trying to pass the puck up, and he passes it and it goes off the shin pads, and then Nurse is behind him initially, but he's moving up, he's creeping up the ice, and so instead of covering for him, he doesn't cover for him, and there's a breakaway goal, which Campbell, anyway, we'll get to this. Campbell may well have had. Kulak. What was his? Oh yeah, there's a face-off on I think it's the first goal, and this is the second goal that Winnipeg scored. There's a face-off win, and it goes back to Kulak, and he immediately loses the puck in the corner, and then McLeod throws it away up the boards, and Winnipeg scores on the outside shot. So there was just lots of those are the two kind of mistakes that stood out for me, but there was plenty of them. There, Desharnais, puck with one outside shot went in off Desharnais and maybe a few other Oilers. I think that might have been the third or the fourth goal. I mean, there were so many examples of the Californian. Yeah, so many examples of the Californian, these outside shots that find their way in the net against Campbell tonight. It was just a very frustrating night, I'm sure, for him and also for Edmonton Oilers fans. Yeah. Any other thoughts on the D, Bruce, or should we move on to the?
Well, they didn't generate any offense. They didn't play a lot of defense. They didn't play very physically. So, what's left? I mean, Nurse, to his defense, even though it wound up being very costly, he went after the guy, you figured out his pronunciation, Saku, what is it again?
Meathead-Alainen.
That guy. Yeah, that I was hoping he'd be suspended for this game after cross-checking Broberg in the Adams apple last night. That didn't happen. So he runs McDavid kind of from the side, but he kind of leg whips him, where McDavid's leg is far, like he got him on the leg and took him down hard, and Nurse went after him, and he chickened out, Meathead-Alainen chickened out from that. And then there was a fight between Nurse and big 17 Adam Lowry, and Nurse comes out of that with the extra penalty, and Meathead-Alainen gets nothing, and then they scored on the power play right after, in the 2 seconds left, and man, just just a wretched sequence. And I mean, some will blame Nurse for standing
Yeah.
up for McDavid. I'm not
No.
going to do that. You need that.
Oh
And
yeah. Yeah.
yeah, I frankly was hoping that someone would just after he refused the information. I would not have minded seeing some Oiler take a serious run at Meathead line in the third period. After he gooned Broberg last night and then
Yeah.
took a heavy hit of McDavid in a vulnerable position tonight, hell with that.
Yeah. It's time for some
And
rough
get
justice.
CC on him the way he got Nemesnikov. That'll learn him.
Indeed. Indeed. Yeah, the pairing that did work, the Bouchard Ekholm pairing. I mean, Ekholm made his fair number of mistakes on
He
graded
did.
shots.
I was less impressed with him tonight.
But Bouchard was just his best game of the year I think, probably.
Probably.
And led the team 24-18 in ice time, 3 assists, 2 Bouch bombs lead to goals. He showed a little bit of snarl on defense. I mean, it's almost like as if he's got a 190-pound weight off his back all of a sudden, Bruce.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not. This isn't meant as any kind of criticism of the Oilers or of Tyson Barrie, but I think there really was a time to let this guy go, show what he can do at the NHL level. He's ready for it. So the time was now. Maybe they made the exact right moment for this kind of trade, but he needs to be able to step up and play his best, get the opportunity. When he's out there with McDavid and Draisaitl, for instance, good things tend to happen, I believe. Like, I think that could be quite an effective combination. And between him and Ekholm, it'll be interesting to see, Bruce, as this goes along, who gets more ice time, which pairing, Ekholm and Bouchard, or Nurse and Ceci.
Oh, there's a legit top 4 there. Where before we had a top pair, and then the rest that were sort of 2A, 2B on a good night. And now we've got, I think, legitimate competition in the top 4. I mean, Matthias Ekholm is without question a top 4 NHL defenseman and has been for years. Yeah. And so you can expect him to stabilize the top 4, and whether you call his pairing the first or the second, I tend to use ice time as a measure, and especially even strength ice time, because some people have, get extra minutes on one or the other of the special teams, and they've got. I think we're going to see more balance there, and then you're going to look down and you're going to see Desharnais 827, Broberg 732, like we did tonight, because they were really leaning heavily on that top 4 in this game.
Yeah, let me just zoom in here for a second, and we'll get you the exact. At even strength, Bouchard was 2206, CC 1622, Nurse 1801, and Ekholm 1941. So the top pairing, the top pairing was
tonight
Bouchard,
was
Ekholm,
absolutely
for sure, and we'll just see.
And rightly so. I just unfortunately they weren't getting a little higher percentage of the shifts, but.
Yeah, I really like that. I just think it takes some of the pressure off Nurse and Ceci. Like, listen, they've just been fed for since Woodcroft has taken over this team. My understanding is they've just been fed a steady diet of probably the toughest minutes in the NHL. Like, he just relies on them so much. So if you can have Ekholm steadying down Bouchard and Bouchard playing to his full capacity, they can play more tough competition, and we'll see how this goes. It's going to be interesting to see how it all plays out. I mean, and on the third pairing, frankly, with Broberg and Kulak. Philip Broberg, he came on in the third period and played really well. Kulak picked up his game in the third period as well, I should say, after a fairly rough start to the game. Speaking of rough games.
No goals against in the third, and Oilers outshot him 14-7, but they just couldn't pull all the way back. Damage was done. So,
Jack Campbell. It's a tough. There was just one goal, I think, where it's clear that he should have made the save that he didn't make. So that's the goal where what's his name, Casablanca, whatever his name is, Capelbianca, comes down the wing.
Yeah, Capelbianca.
It's halfway through the second period. And he comes down the wing and There's an outside shot, and I don't know how Campbell misses it, but he misses it. And it's the
Short side.
fourth goal of the game, or what was it?
Mm-hmm.
Fourth goal of the game. It was the Oilers had gone ahead 3-2. Winnipeg gets a goal, and then it's tied 3-3. Then they get this one. It's just like, what do the Oilers have to do to win when you're a net, Jack Campbell?
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, that's partly out of frustration that I'm saying that. It's partly not.
I understand. I'm frustrated too.
Because
a lot of oil country is frustrated.
Many of the shots that went in were rebounding off other people, heavily screened, tipped by the Jets just in front of the net. Difficult shots. There's only the one, which you can say with some amount of certainty, like the average NHL goalie is going to stop that shot, and he wasn't that. But even that is too much in a game. You can't let in even one of those goals and usually win. If you do, your team's usually going to lose the game. And the Morrissey goal at the end of the second period with 2 seconds left in the second period was an outside slap shot. Now, Nugent-Hopkins did screen up high on Morrissey, but there was plenty of time to react. And, maybe, he picks up the puck after it passes Nugent-Hopkins. He knows exactly where it's coming from. And he picks it up as soon as it's past Nugent-Hopkins, and yet it beats him there as well. Every single one of the tip shots beats him. It's like they find a hole in Jack Campbell.
Sure do.
So it's not, if this was just one game, we wouldn't be frustrated. We would just be like, well, he had a bad game. But this is like game after game after game. And it's almost at the point where it's time to send him to the minors and call up Calvin Pickard. Now, this is at the point of the year where we were making similar comments about Mike Smith last year with a similar amount of frustration, as I recall. And it actually continued right to the end of March. Our frustration kept building and building with Mike Smith. Many people were saying, send him down, including me. I don't know if you were, Bruce. You're often very level-headed about these things. But many people were doing that. And what happened? Mike Smith turned it around.
Did he ever?
Did he ever? So I don't think Ken Holland is sending down Jack Campbell. Calvin Pickard's not getting called up. They're going to stick with him, and they'll see, he'll play when there's back-to-back nights. He'll play. Otherwise, they'll ride Stuart Skinner probably at this point, because everyone can see what's going on, I'm sure. But it's not going well for Jack Campbell at all.
Mm-hmm.
And what else can I say? I mean, he made some big saves. There were some good saves tonight. There just wasn't enough of them. And there was some goals against on iffy shots. So,
Well, 5 of the 6 goals came on outside shots.
Yeah,
the first 3 of them were tipped, and the guy tipped it down and in. I don't think any NHL goalie gets that.
No.
And then the second one that hit, I'm pretty sure Ryan got a stick on it right at the point of shot. Then it hit the sort of the hip of Desharnais, and then the shaft of Kulak's stick on the way in. So triple deflections. Yeah. Brutal. And that's just one of those puck luck kind of goals. So again, you sort of give the goalie get out of jail free card. But there was a third tip, and it found a hole. And it just seems like any tip puck, it has a real good chance of finding one of those holes. You don't have a solid one-piece goalie like Skinner tends to be, where, you might beat him in the corners or something, but you're not going to, go right into the middle of the net or under his arm or through his legs or over his stick or, so many holes. So there's 3 of those. The 4-3 where the guy scores on the short side. The guy who's got 1 goal all year, I might add, scores on a shot that beats him short side over the shoulder. He's dropping down to the ice, and it just goes up and over. And he's dropping early, and the guy shoots it high, and in it goes. And so that's just poor technique or anticipation, read, whatever. It's poor goaltending. And then, the goal I kind of hated the most, other than that one, the goal I hated second most was the breakaway goal, where this is a guy who scored 5 goals all year, Barron, and somehow he gets behind Nurse and Ceci, like we said, and he comes in, and you're thinking, okay, you just need a save here, and the guy comes in right from the left wing boards, and he makes one long move. He goes forehand to backhand, but the puck goes about 15 feet. It's not like he's dangling. It's not like he's faking one way and going. He goes across the middle of the net, and he just shovels it right into the middle of the net. Like, where's the freaking goalie? Like, is he playing dodgeball or is he playing goal? Like that, I mean, it's not like he roofed it or made a great backhand. It was like it just kind of went through him. And I mean, sure, you blame the defenseman there too, absolutely. But make a save, bail your teammates out once in a while. It's not like they're not bailing you out by scoring tying goal after you've let one in. So anyway, I just texted Reed Wilkins. I heard him talking about the Japanese village goal light that they give away for when the Oilers score 5 goals at Ched there. And I said Campbell's last 3 starts, the Oilers have lit the Japanese village goal light in all 3 of them and lost all 3 games.
I know.
Like, how many do you need to score to win a damn game? They've scored 23 goals in his last 5 starts and lost them all. 5-4, 5-4, 6-5, 6-5, 7-5. Make a save once in a while, damn it. Done.
Would you have given him a 2? I gave him a 3 out of 10.
It's somewhere in there. Like,
yeah,
there just wasn't enough pluses in there. It was just, a couple of bad goals, a few where you say, well, other stuff happens, bad luck, yada, yada, yada. Found a hole. Yep. Sure did.
Oh, yeah. You got to laugh about it, Bruce. You got to laugh about it. I hope Jack Campbell's laughing. Like, I hope you can.
Well, Ken Holland can't be laughing. I went to Ken Holland's defense last night after the podcast, but he signed this guy. Ken Holland was a goalie. Like, this should be his specialty. And yet he's taken a massive swing and a whiff here. And that's, there's some I mean, we've had this conversation before. He did turn it around for a little while, and they've cried. He's worse now than he was earlier in the season. In terms of there's not enough goals you can score to win a game. He was winning games 5-4 and 6-5 before, and now
we may not see Jack Campbell for a while, depending on how Stuart Skinner plays, because they've got a game Monday.
No back-to-backs for a while.
Thursday, Saturday, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. And then 2 days later, March 20th, March 22nd, March 25th, March 27th. And then the next back-to-back is March 27th, 28th at the end of the month. Tell you what, Bruce, if Stuart Skinner gets hot, we may see all Stuart Skinner this summer.
Let's hope he does.
This March, I should say. Yeah, let's hope he does, because the Oilers need some. They're going to need some wins, and then down the stretch, there's breaks between. It's possible Campbell may just get one more game if Skinner gets hot. I think that's unlikely. But nonetheless,
it's not good for Skinner to play him to death either. I mean, the whole point the whole reason they kept Campbell in tonight when it was 6 against after 2 periods was Skinner played last night, and they're going to be playing him Monday. And coaching strategy at that point has to be, well, it's good money after bad to throw your other goalie in there. And this is why backups sometimes they just have to eat it when their team is getting fed, because the coach won't put the starter in there. And at this point, Jack Campbell is the backup, and he's a very distant second.
Yeah, he sure is, Bruce.
And he was okay in the third period, didn't let in any, and they were in the game, but this time they couldn't get the tying goal. It just got the 5.
Yeah, it just seems relentless, eh? Like just the goals under strange circumstances. I'll put them, because they're not all his fault. So now his saves percentage, is this accurate? 882? It must be lower than that.
Well, I can tell you in those 5 games that I just listed off, it's 845.
Okay.
The other teams are shooting 15.5% against Campbell in his last 5 starts.
What's your number?
Not that. My number is 26, and that is the number of power play goals credited now to Leon Draisaitl, 22-23. Tonight he scored 2 of those, and he broke his 1-year-old club record of 24 that he scored last year to break Wayne Gretzky's all-time franchise record of 20 in a season. That was tied once by Ryan Smith. And Draisaitl powered through that last year. And this year he's powered through that, and he's up to 26. So I looked last night after he tied his old record, and I saw him 31st on the all-time list for most power play goals in a season with 24. Well, right now he's all the way up to 18th because there's only 17 guys that have scored 27 or more power play goals in a year. I'll give you the quick list here. You may have heard of a couple of these guys: Mike Bossy, Phil Esposito, Brett Hull, Alexander McGillney, Ilya Kovalchuk, Dave Andreychuk, Mike Bossy, Michel Goulet twice, Brett Hull twice, Mario Lemieux twice, Joe Nieuwendyk, Dave Andreychuk, and the immortal Tim Kerr, number one, with the big mountain of a man with the soft hands that used to just line up in the slot and power them home for the Philadelphia Flyers in the mid-1980s. 34. And so that's 34 in 76 games for him. Every one of the guys ahead of Leon on this list played 70-plus games, and all the guys below him on the first page, there's only one guy at 69 games. Leon's played 62 games, and he's already got 26 power play goals. And he's taken a real hard shot at Tim Kerr's records. So lethal is Edmonton's power play, and so lethal is Leon Draisaitl within the structure of the Edmonton power play that he is very, very difficult to stop. And he's a huge part of this incredible. Tonight they scored 2 power play goals in 20 seconds. The first 2 power plays they had took 20 seconds to score twice. Both times him.
We're on the same page here because my number also involves power play scoring. This is Connor McDavid's power play points, which I think Hannah Ryan Singh alluded to. He's tied with Wayne Gretzky for the all-time Oilers lead at 58, which surprised me. I thought anytime you're beating a scoring record of single season scoring record of Wayne Gretzky like this, I just didn't expect to hear that. I never expected to think that Connor McDavid would break any of Wayne Gretzky's single season scoring records because they're so high. He just put up so many points. But he's done it on the power play. Now it turns out that Gretzky, as great a overall as dominant an overall point scorer he was very good on the power play. And he actually had seasons in Los Angeles where he outdid himself in Edmonton. He had 2 seasons in LA, where one with 61 and one with 59 points. So McDavid is now 13th overall in all-time season for a season point scoring on the power play in the NHL with his 58. So there's a number of players ahead of them. At the very top of the list, holding the top 4 power play seasons ever is Mario Lemieux. He had 1 season of 80, 2 seasons of 79, and 1 season of 66. So he's got these 58 points in 64 games. It's possible, Bruce, that he could take a run at Lemieux and that all-time record. I think that's unlikely. He'd have to, for one thing, increase his rate of power play point scoring, which is possible, but he's at such a high rate already. But Lemieux's dominance in this category, I didn't know that was the case, that he was way ahead of Wayne Gretzky in that on that count. But we're going to see McDavid, if he stays healthy, he's gonna go into the top 5. I think maybe he'll finish 4th.
Behind the 80, 80, 79. Yeah, I don't think he'll be getting those. Yeah, that's a point a game on the fucking power play. Holy moly.
Yeah, I mean, it's unlikely he can catch that. It's not impossible, but it's.
But 66 he could get.
He could be 50. Lemieux. Yeah.
50.
He's at 58, so he could get to 66 for sure. That's expected at this point. But can he get to 79 or 80? No, that's unlikely. But you don't say never. Never say never with Connor McDavid. He is he's having an unbelievable season, and he's playing with incredible determination. But I don't think his determination's about winning. It's not about scoring power play points necessarily. Now the two go hand in hand. So, but I don't see him in the third period, for instance, like, when the Oilers have a big lead, getting out there on the power play and doing everything he can to score. And that was the MO of some players like Gretzky. And I admired that in Gretzky. I think that was fine. But and it it led to some extra points that he would get that a player like McDavid won't get because of his mindset.
Yeah, well, Gretzky, in between 1980 and 87, when he won his 7 straight Art Ross trophies, he only had 4 of the top 8 seasons of power play points. So, I mean, he was dominant, but not like utterly beyond everybody else. I mean, he was winning those scoring titles by, in fact, I can tell you, 29, 65, 72, 79, 73, 74, and 75 points in a row. The 6 greatest margins of victory in the history of the NHL by Gretzky in 81 to 87. And he was getting his power play points, and he was also crushing it on the penalty kill. Like, he got 23 shorthanded points one year, 23, and crushing it at even strength and crushing it on 4-on-4, which was a particular favorite for those Oilers. And but on the power play, he was great, but not like super out of this world great. Whereas McDavid is clobbering the league in power play points this year, like Gretzky never did.
So to finish off on the out-of-town scoreboard, we see the Stars beat the Avalanche 7-3. And this is early in the game. The Wild lead. The Flames won 1-0, and the Blues and the Kings. Love it if the Blues can beat the Kings tonight. We'll see what happens there, Bruce. Yeah, so the Oilers play. Who do they play Monday night? Leafs
Buffalo?
or Buffalo?
Buffalo, boy. Then Boston, then Toronto. It's a tough trip.
Tage
and
Thompson.
Got off to a bad start. Yeah, they got Tage Thompson to deal with, and then the perfection line, and then Toronto and Hockey Night in Canada. That'll be a high intensity affair. And
Toronto will want revenge. And
yeah,
because they looked so bad.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see what happens. The Oilers are playing. I was looking forward with some amount of trepidation to this run of games against top teams. They're 2-2 though, the Oilers.
Yep.
And they've played pretty well. And if they can get some goaltending, they'll be fine in this part of the season as well. Bruce, let's leave it there. Thanks for talking tonight.
All right. Thanks for listening, everyone.
And in the meantime, and in between times, this has been another edition of the Cult of Hockey podcast.